Working in retail is never easy, especially when you have to deal with a bunch of crazies. Welcome to this episode of Tales from Retail. Our first tale is from Difficult Witness 29. Diamond Specialist here. Had this woman come in to get her ring cleaned and polished that was not from my privately owned business. Told her if she wanted it cleaned, I would need to take it in the back to the high pressure steam cleaner to get all the junk out of it. Lotions, conditioners, makeup, daily wear and tear, blah blah blah. She said she was perfectly fine with that as I told her it could take up a few minutes. Come back out with a brand new looking engagement ring, because it was actually clean. Automatically asks for a jeweler's loupe to inspect her diamond. Graciously hand her one and said no problem. Here starts the thorough inspection of her diamond. Huff and puff multiple times, flip the hair, turn the loop around. There's no difference between sides on a jeweler's loupe. I ask her if she would like me to show her how to use the loupe. She snaps at me and says clearly she knows how to use one. She absolutely did not. Distance from the eye to loupe is about 1 inch. Distance from the loupe to piece is another inch, give or take your depth perception. "You switched my diamond," she proclaimed. I continued to say, "Excuse me?" She claimed I switched out her diamond, to which I'm baffled at this point. Demanding to speak to authority, I said you're speaking to one. Saying it looks wrong and this wasn't the diamond she purchased, so on and so forth. Tried reasoning with her until I had to get very blunt. I'm assuming you don't know how this works. For me to switch out a diamond, and a marquee shaped at that, I would have had to know your exact dimensions of the diamond before you came in here. Your diamond isn't from here, but I said I would clean it for free for you. Now you're accusing me of switching out your diamond within 2 to 3 minutes when it would have taken me at least 10 minutes to even try to find a stone that had your exact dimensions. Because if I didn't, I would have had to change the head of your diamond to hold a different size stone, which requires a jeweler's torch, putting on a new one, and then cleaning your ring to perfection to dip into the rhodium. All of that alone would have taken me a solid 45 minutes. Rhodium is $20,000 plus per ounce right now, and if you think I'm going to contaminate a batch of rhodium on your ring to maybe profit $1,000 on switching out your stone is absurd. Kindly take your ring back to where you bought it from and have them confirm with you that indeed it's still your diamond, and do not ask me to service your ring ever again. She huffed and puffed and walked out. Got a call later from her husband apologizing, saying he heard the story and it was her diamond. Educate yourself before you accuse a professional of theft, bitch. Talk about a super diamond pro. You have to love how she knows more than the actual jeweler she took her fucking ring to. If she knew so much, then why didn't she know how to accurately and adequately clean her fucking ring without needing service? This next tale is by Link Ellie 19. Sorry for formatting, I'm on mobile. So this happened yesterday and I still can't believe it happened. I work in a retail store in the UK and we have Sunday trading laws, meaning we open at 10 AM instead of our usual 8 AM. We had just opened and after 10 or so minutes, I had a guy come up to me saying he already paid for a blanket earlier. I knew he didn't cause I had only served my manager and one guy with his son buying toys. I had definitely not served a dude with a blanket. I asked for proof of purchase and a receipt, and he said he didn't have one. Instant red flag there. I then asked him, "Did you pay for this yesterday?" To which he replied, "Nah, I bought it earlier." No you didn't. We had just opened, and I think the staff setting up would have noticed a customer in the store before opening. I then told him that I had only served one customer at this point, considering we had just opened and it hasn't even been 10 minutes yet. Not enough time to buy something and walk around. He tried to convince me I did serve him like I was born yesterday, and when he realized I wasn't changing my story, he gave up and paid for it. If he had tried doing that around midday, it probably would have worked, as we don't keep track of who comes in and who buys what all day. But to do it after opening takes guts and hoping the cashier isn't awake enough to see through it. He didn't get lucky there. After he left, I just laughed it off and continued my day. That little interaction kept me going as it was busy and we struggled to keep up. I hope the guy enjoys his almost free blanket though. It is cold out now. I'm with you. It definitely takes guts to try to attempt something like that right after a shop opens, and even then, a tired employee is most likely gonna realize if they actually sold somebody a fucking blanket within 10 minutes or not. This next tale is from Of the Dapper Sort. I used to work at a liquor store. One day, a German man in his 60s or 70s came in. He wanted a good bottle of red wine at a decent price. He was not picky about what kind of wine. This brand buys surplus wine from higher-end vineyards. They put their own label on it and are able to charge a really good price for it. I brought this to a dinner party a couple weeks ago and we all really liked it, I told him. Remind you, dear reader, everything I told him was true. Okay, I'll get it, he said, all German sounding. But I bet any bottle of wine would be good for you, he continued. You look like a WINO. You're probably high. I just laughed. I wasn't mad. Honestly, it seemed like good-natured European-y ribbing. I, however, wish I had thought to tell him he wasn't wrong. You know, believe it or not, I do believe this because a lot of high-end brands do sell their products to lower-end generic-named brands that end up putting their name on the product that's still the high-end product but for a lower price. And our final tale is by Ya Local Crackhead. Me, my shift lead, and my manager were working the closing shift together last week. I had just finished helping receive a shipment and was stocking the shelves. The lead was manning the service desk, and my manager was doing a walkthrough of the store. We were the only 3 people in the store that night, and it's a big store. None of us could see each other, and none of us, except my boss, had walkie-talkies. That was a mistake. I finished what I was doing on the sales floor and came up to the front desk to talk to my shift lead. He ends up grabbing me by the arm and saying in a low voice, "Go find the manager, now." It was out of the ordinary and super creepy. I was like, what the fuck? Is she okay? What's going on? My shift lead again told me to go find the manager and to be quiet about it. He said that there was a very sketchy looking customer standing near the double doors with a cart full of merchandise, and my lead said he was afraid the guy was going to run out with it. I went to find my manager and had to pass the guy on the way. I put on my fake-ass customer service voice and asked him how his night was going, was he finding everything okay, etc. He just said, "Yeah, I'm fine, thanks," all the while staring at me. Once I was out of his eyesight, I ran to the back room and found my boss. I told her what was going on and we walked together to the foyer. When we got there, the shift lead told us the guy had run out the door, leaving his cart. I started to go out the first set of automatic doors with my phone in hand to see if I could get a picture of the guy, his car, or his license plates. My manager said, "Hey, don't chase him." I responded with, yeah, I know, I'll be careful." My dumbass started walking out the second set of automatic doors to the parking lot when my boss yelled at me, "Do not go outside." She never ever yells, so it scared me. I turned around and came back inside. My manager escorted me into the store and away from the windows. She then told me that the guy was sitting in his car with the lights off, staring at me, and that he had a second person in the passenger seat, also staring at me. I had seen the car in the lot, but didn't think anyone was in it. I don't know how she saw the guy in there, but I'm glad she did. She ended up locking the doors, even though it was still 30 minutes to close. She then rang up the guy's cart and it was over $850 worth of booze. We went to her office and filled out a report. Once everyone's shifts had ended, we walked together to our cars. Nobody really wanted to be alone in the parking lot that night. I've seen shoplifters and I've seen sketchy customers come in near closing, but this guy was really weird. Gave off a really creepy vibe and scared the shit out of me and my boss, and neither of us scare easily. It just makes you wonder, they had a second passenger, it sounds like they were gonna try to do like a liquor run, a beer run, whatever, but at the same time, the way they just sat there afterwards, it really makes you wonder if they had more in mind than just taking some liquor. Either way, I'm glad things seemed to work out and everybody working there ended up safe. Alright, that's enough tales for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Tales from Retail. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, have a great day and stay safe out there.